it's Wendy here again from Toon Pish Crafts, and I hope you're doing okay. Today I'm going to be doing an experiment with different types of pigments to see whether they float or sink, and whether you can control the floating or sinking in Vista Cascade resin. Vista Cascade has quite a long work time, so you have quite a long time, now we're talking about an hour, to be able to use it before we pour anything in it. So that gives me quite a long time to be able to mix up some pigments, different types of pigments, to see if we can get them to sink or float. Now if anybody's watched Pouring Your Heart Out, they know what I'm talking about. She's trying to get her pigments just to fall a little bit and then turn them so that they give you patterns, and she's had some beautiful results. And I thought I'd try it with Vista resin. Now the pigments I'm going to try are paste pigments, alcohol inks and paints. Now hopefully I can get at least one of those to do vaguely what I want it to do, so that I can practice in the future and try and get the same sort of effect. That's the plan. Might take me a little bit, and I hope this video isn't too long for you. I'm going to speed it up quite a bit, I think. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. Let's see what I can come up with. So to start with, I'm using Resin 8 pigments. There's a purple, blue, I think that's blue metallic, opaque blue and an opaque pink, and Pinata Blanca Blanca, and also the isopropyl alcohol, which is 99%. So I'm just putting some resin in the moulds, not filling them up, just about half full, and the heart is for testing the droplets. I'm starting with the blue. I've already put Pinata Blanca Blanca in, and a little bit of alcohol also, and I'm just testing to see whether the droplets are going to sink. Now, I've already determined that they are sinking. Straight away they're sinking, so I've got to add more alcohol to keep them from sinking. So each time I put alcohol into the colour, I'm trying it to see if it's still sinking or floating. I didn't keep a score of the amount of drops I put in, because this was basically a test of colours rather than testing the actual technique itself. It was just a test for the colours. So after I've tested all the colours and I've got at least one drop in that test pool that is floating, then I know that I can carry on. And this does take time. So if you can see in here, I have one drop at least of each colour that is floating, and that's simply through adding a bit more alcohol each time. Eventually it will start to float. So I'm dropping the colours into the moulds. I don't want to do it from height because I don't want them to sink. And I'm not sure how much to put in, to be honest with you, but just a little drop off the spoon is all I'm doing at the moment. I have speeded all this up for you. It can get a little monotonous if you've seen the same thing over and over. So now from the blue onto the purple, and in between I'm just dropping a drop into the test pool to make sure it's still floating and not sinking, because we don't want it to sink. We don't mind it sinking over time, but not straight away. Onto the blue. Now I did actually realise that the blue wasn't sinking at all, and it could have done with a little bit more pigment paste, I think, but it may have been because it was a metallic colour that it had trouble sinking, but I think they all sank to start with. So yeah, I must have put too much alcohol in that one. And the pink, I do love the pink, but it's quite, maybe it needs a little bit of red in it because it's quite light, you can't really see the pink. Now I'm just going over again to fill in the gaps, first of all with blue and then with the other colours, just to try and fill in the gaps. So this is about an hour later, and I'm testing to see if we get a stringy reaction when I put a pokey stick into the resin. It didn't work the first time, but about 20 minutes later I was getting the string effect that I was looking for. So now I'm going to twizzle the resin colours around, and I'm just choosing random patterns really. There's no rhyme or reason. I just thought I'd do different patterns to see what the effects were. I did find that you shouldn't overlap your stick though, because that causes issues with the colours itself. So whatever pattern you're doing, try not to overlap your stick. So this is just a close-up shot of the designs I've put into the colours of the resin. And this is the second type of colouring that I'm using. This is glass cast pigments. Now you can see by the state of the bottles, I've had these colours for quite a while. They're all basic colours that you can get from glass casts, and I thought, well, got to give them a try, haven't you? Again, pour in some resin into the moulds, not to the top, just about halfway. And this is where I've started to mix. I've already put some white into them. I'm going to see what they're doing in the resin to start with. Again, I've speeded most of this up because it can be quite repetitive. Now I have found on this occasion with these pigments that they're not sinking at all. So I put absolutely tons of white in, and I still couldn't get them to sink properly. Speeded this up times 10 just so you can get an idea of what I'm actually doing. And I'm just popping each colour in, but they're not sinking. I put in so much white into these to try to get them to sink, and I just couldn't get them to sink at all. I think if I'd have carried on going with the white, I'll eventually have got there, but the colours would have been practically white, I think. So I'm just filling in all the blanks with the rest of the paint that I have. I had quite a bit left over, I made too much really. And there's a close-up view of what they're like after I poured them all, and you can see that they're dispersing on top, and I was hoping that they would fall a little, but I don't think they're going to. Now it's me test to see if I get a stringy effect, and I'm happy with the result, so I'm going to do my twirling. Okay, so the last test is paints, and this is PBO paints and Colvin & Company paints. I've already mixed them up and I've added the white and the alcohol. I had trouble with these sinking, so I had to put a lot of alcohol in to stop them sinking, and that was changing the colour quite dramatically. By the time I got to trying them and they weren't sinking, they were very light in colour, and it changed the consistency of the resin, so they weren't spreading at all. This is the least favourite of mine. Colours are gorgeous, but they're not as vibrant as they could have been, and I'm trying to fill up the moulds, covering all the gaps, but they're just not spreading. I did put more in the bottom right hand corner one, just to try and fill up the mould with colour. And there we can see a little while later I'm doing my string test, and I've got quite a nice string there, so I'm ready to twirl. By this time I realised that going around in a circle gives the best pattern really, in my opinion. Okay, so it's demoulding time. This is the first one, the paste pigments. And that is definitely something I can work with. The purple has gone a little burgundy, the blue didn't sink, and the light blue looks more grey, and the pink you can't really see. However, I think that's workable. I'm not too sure about the pattern of that one. Definitely workable though. That blue is very sparkly, but it's too light. It's probably because it's a metallic. I'm sure you could add other blues to it. And I'm going to have to get myself some more paste pigments, I think. Okay, so this is the second lot then. This is the glass cast resin dyes. Beautiful, but they didn't sink at all. Pretty colours though. But you can see I've already added quite a lot of white to these. That's why they're quite pale in colour, but I still couldn't get them to sink. Could have carried on, probably would have got there in the end. But it was dulling the colours down. Okay, and this is the last one. This is the paint. Now, this is the mould that I put loads in. Yeah, they sank no matter what, and they didn't disperse properly, and the blue's not very good because it all went bitty, so I'm not happy with the paint effect at all. And there's the three together. You can definitely see the difference. Okay, well I hope it didn't bore you with that. There was quite a lot to it. Yeah, so the three different types of pigments that I've tried paste pigments, which in my opinion work the best. This is the paste pigments, and I think I can work with that one. The colours did go a little bit off. The purple turned a little bit burgundy and the pink turned more grey, but I think that is a workable progress. The glass cast colours, resin dyes, they wouldn't sink. I kept putting more and more white in. I think I put 30 drops in each and they still wouldn't sink. If I'd have kept going with white pigment, I probably could have got them to sink, but it was dulling the colours and it just wasn't right. So those, in my opinion, won't work for this particular thing that I'm trying to do. You know what I'm trying to do, you know, the pouring your heart out technique of the colours swirling. These were paints. Now the paints were sinking no matter how much alcohol I was putting in them, and the more alcohol I was putting in them, the less bright the colour. Plus, one of the colours that I tried kind of segmented in the resin. You probably saw it on the video. It kind of separated as it was in the resin, and I kept mixing it around, and it was sort of bitty, and it wasn't very nice at all. So yeah, the paints, although they worked and it's nice and solid and everything, and the resin don't work for this thing. Now, I think the paste pigments is the road I'm going down on. Now, the lady in Pouring Your Heart Out herself says that she's been doing this for months with the same resin and same resin dyes, and just over and over working it out what to do and how much to use. And that's what I'm going to be doing for a while, I think. Obviously I won't film everything that I do, but every now and then I'll come back if I've got something different to show you, and I'll show you how I'm getting on. But definitely that is something to work with. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Come back and see me again next week. I've got a couple of stickers to go on my sticker board, by the way. I've got a sticker from Pole Barn. Doug, thank you very much, Doug. I'll put their links in the description down below. And I've also got one from BB Turning. And again, everything will be in the description. If you want us to do a sticker swap with me, please do contact me. I'm more than willing. They're going up on the board. I'll put some stills up at the end. Have a nice week. Bye for now.